What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. We all know that Wack 100 is problematic, guys, at best. And he's always saying something that's controversial. You know, we know the situation right now with the whole Nipsey Hussle, Big U, Hassan Campbell fiasco. But he does spend a lot of time on Clubhouse, which, you know, for somebody with his level of success and how much he runs his mouth, you would think that he would leave Clubhouse alone. But Wack 100, you know, he likes to keep the ball moving. And he was on Clubhouse talking to our brother, Ben X. Now, Ben X is the Nation of Islam. I've been fortunate enough to have a conversation with the brother. I support him on Patreon. And Wack 100 starts to discuss the Million Man March in 1995. And he starts to press Brother Ben X about, you know, what happened to the money that the Nation of Islam raised. And they were supposed to, you know, do all these things, do all these resources for the black community, and it didn't happen. So what happened to the money? Now, popular MC Electronica was really livid about that, and he said some things I'm not going to repeat on his Instagram. And in other words, he's calling, you know, Wack 100 a bitch, telling him, listen, man, you know, why you talking to that young brother? Come talk to me about it. And don't press him for the information. Come and talk to somebody who's been in the Nation of Islam, you know, for a long time. And Electronica, I believe, came in first under the 5% Nation, then with the Nation of Islam, and 5% Nation came out of the Nation of Islam. But I was talking to Brother George Macon. You guys can check him out on YouTube. And we were talking about that situation too, because it's always been something that we've talked about in the black community for many years. What happened to the money raised by the Nation of Islam? Because if we think about it, the Nation of Islam is small, but it does appeal to the at-large black community for its support at times. They do have their own businesses that they generate. They sell to the black community. They sell newspapers. They have schools. But the people that are in the nation are very, very small. But they're supported by people who are favorable to the nation. Most people won't join the nation, but a lot of people look at the Nation of Islam favorably in the black community, especially in urban centers. All right? A lot of people love the Nation of Islam, despite some of their issues. So, where is the money? Brother George points this out. The Nation of Islam put up the Million Man March to bring black people together so that black people could atone. Black men could atone for their mistakes in the black community, to their families, come out and meet people, come out and be inspired, go back to their neighborhood, and then do better. I'm going to say it again. That was the purpose of the Nation of Islam. Now, whether they made promises to do things with monies donated, I'm not sure. But this is what happens. So let me just say this. If you go to a club or to a bar, to a concert, do we ever ask the concert promoters, what did you do with that money? Like, they threw an event. It was successful. You know, Coachella, something like that. It's largely successful. Do we ever say, like, what did you do with the money? Like that's how we think in the black community. Like, the person who threw this event, like, that money has to be given back to black America. Now, let me just say this. I wasn't there. I was like 14 at the time. If Farrakhan said they were going to do certain things in the black community with some of the funding and they didn't do it, I believe that is a fair question. That's a fair question. And if Electronica is saying, well, you know, you need to ask me this and ask that, you slandering us, I don't believe that Wack 100 is slandering anybody. He's asking, where is the money that you guys did? If that's the case. But the reality is that the Million Man March its power wasn't about funding. It was, they did something that nobody else in Black America could do. The black church couldn't do it. They brought black people together. 1 million of us. They've done it twice. In my honest opinion, what they do with the goddamn money is their business. Because they're doing something that we cannot do. They brought black Christians together. They brought all these people together. And again, the question always is what happened to the money when they provided a service for our community? And let me tell you something. On both ends, if you promise something, you should deliver it. But also secondarily, why is it that when somebody in the black community does a service for us, we always feel like that money should be reinvested into the community? And it's nice if it is. It's a form of social entrepreneurship, if you will. It's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. I believe it's an honest thing if you can do that. But let us be fair here. It's not necessary. That's why a lot of times it's hard to do things in Black America because of that particular concept, that particular thinking. You have these guys, despite whether you like the Nation of Islam or not, they did something that was great. Do they have problems? Absolutely. Do they have things I don't agree with it? Absolutely. But are they doing something? Do they have a model that a lot of blacks can follow that we don't follow? They operate their own schools. They operate their own restaurants. I believe I've seen Brother Ben X trying to operate his own farm. That's something that we don't do. It's the Booker T method. And they largely have been, people in the black community have financially supported them over the years because of what they teach about being independent, off the grid and off the system, things like that. And their whole motive for the Million Man March, although it was a moneymaker, I do believe, it was the service they provided. It was go back to your black community as black people, as black men, as black women, and you go back and you atone for what you haven't done in your community and go back to your community and make it better. That is the ultimate thing. But asking about the resources, I get it if they said it. That's something that I get. But for the larger picture is this. The goal was, what did you do? After experiencing the Million Man March, what were you supposed to do in Black America? That was the question. It was not about what the nation did. They did their job. We're going to be fair here. And I'm going to bring Brother George Macon on to expound more. I completely agree with what he said. You were supposed to do something in Black America. What did you do to help your community? They exposed you. Listen, at the time of that, the internet wasn't like it is now. Guys, we can have these podcasts now. We could talk, and shout out to Brother George, because before then we were very communal. It was hard to know what went on the other side of town. I lived in Del Paso Heights in the 90s. And for those guys who knew me at that time, listen, we already knew. Even long distance was expensive on the phone. So where I lived, you didn't even want to go to the other part of town, let alone somebody else's city. That was for a few people who could take flights and stuff in the 90s. You could be able to fly from, Sacramento to, Atlanta or New York City. Like, everybody couldn't do that at that time. It's too expensive. So we didn't even know what was going on in the other parts of the country, let alone really in the world. The only thing that we could see was what we saw on the jukebox, what we saw on Yo MTV Raps or in the basement. We saw things like that through movies. That was the only time we could know what was going on. But what the Nation of Islam did is they allowed all of us to meet and provide situations that we would have never seen before that. That's what the beauty of what they did. We were able to make connections. We were able to build relationships, people in all over the African American community, the black world. And then we were supposed to learn what we learned from there, go back motivated to do something for our people, which I believe that when we got back, we didn't do it. We got motivated to do something and then we didn't do anything afterwards. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe with the bell. Check out the first company at the top. And as you know, The buffoonery remains an all-time high. I'm out.